Hey, it's Mark. Welcome back to Single Car Garage. Finishing up some sanding, and my daughter. This is the job she does. When it comes to paint work, she is excellent at masking off a car, and she is excellent at sanding. So she does almost all the block sanding and all the masking for the last 20 cars, maybe at least 15, I think. Anything that we've done, she's done all the masking, and she does on the trucks. She did the interior, which is very hard to do, and did an excellent job. I mean, we had no overspray anywhere. So, but I'm doing the final block sanding, and found another spot here, right where my finger is, and I put red dots around it. And I found a spot there, and that's it. And I actually have left 2 spots for my daughter to find. I'm going to ask her to Saturday. She comes in tomorrow, and I'm going to ask her Saturday to go over this slowly with 400. Not a heavy sand because it's been sanded, and to look for any kind of imperfection that needs to be fixed. And that, I hope, I mean, when I paint it, I'll find something. But what I'm planning on is this to be the smoothest paint job that I've ever done. And with those black panels I just finished painting and how good they turned out, I'm pretty excited. So I can't wait. But we've got to get that done. She does have a little bit of work to do on her hood, but we want to go through and clean these channels, and then I will primer these channels and smooth them out. They look pretty good, but I want to get them really smooth and looking good. Same thing with the channels back here on the trunk. I want them looking good, and of course under the hood everything will be painted. But body wise, that's what we've got to do. We are going to start painting, I would say, sometime around the end of February. And with the hoping that we can be done by the first, let's say the first week of March. And I think we can do that. I really do. So, hey, let me show you all what we go through when we look at a project. We'll looking at a car, we'll start with the motor. What's the motor going to cost? And along with the motor, we'll do the rest of the drivetrain. But what's it going to cost to do us a motor? Let's say $4,000. Well, what's it going to cost to finish a transmission? Somewhere around $1,000. What are you going to do with the rear end? Probably new posi unit. Probably about $2,500. Then we'll go to the interior. What's the interior need to make it what we want, which we build drivers. But in this case, we did want, well, I'm not going to dig in there, but custom seats, you all seen them on another video. But what's interior going to cost you? Seats are $1,000 to $1,500. Interior kit's about $1,000. And then you got other odds and ends. Do you want new package tray? Other few odds and ends in there. Then what do you want for suspension and brakes? Are you going 4-wheel disc? Disc front, drum back? What kind of steering ratio do you want? What kind of suspension, springs do you want? Same thing with the back. What kind of brakes do you want? What kind of coil springs do you want? So performance suspension, if you part it out, you can do it for $2,000. If you go straight one company, it's usually somewhere between $2,500 and $4,000 or $5,000. And then you get into paint and body. What do you do paint and body? What's it going to cost? If you do it yourself, goods won't cost you more than $2,000. Then you got to factor in your wheels. And once you've looked at all those areas, if you're doing all the work yourself, and let's say the project comes up to $10,000, allow yourself $13,000. I always tell everybody, give you a 30% cushion. Don't go over that. If you get to that point, you're going to have to cut costs somewhere or get rid of your project. And you should be, if you have a realistic work plan on it and broken down and what you want to do and what you want to spend, if you have all that written out, and you need to, what am I going to do with my drivetrain? What am I going to do with my suspension? What am I going to do about stopping my car? What do I want my car for? This particular car is being built to handle on the highway real well. So that's what the suspension was. When we were looking at what we was going to put together for suspension, it was all about handling. Drag racing's a whole different thing. You just want a daily driver, whole different thing. And nobody's going to drive a daily driver that's going to be as stiff as this car, because it'll beat you to death. So have a good plan. Think out and then stick to it. Don't see this, see that, and want to jump around. I've always built drivers. This is probably by far the prettiest car that I will probably ever build. If I paint my GTO, and it looks as good as this, it still won't be as good as this because it's gold. But anyway, stick with your plan and buy your parts to finish your projects. If we source our engines out, so we start off with, this is what the engine costs, save that much money. When the engine heads out, the body work stuff, we always, I have metal and we can weld in rust and start doing a little bit of body work. And that's a cheap way to go. It takes us $50 to start out doing body work. So while the engine's out, we can do body work. Then when the engine comes in, what's a transmission? You're saving money. Where are you? When you get the money saved, bam. Same thing with the rear end. When you get the money to buy your parts, bam. And piece by piece, get it together. And while you're doing all that, work on your body. And it'll come together about the same time. Then this project, because we moved garages, has taken us a year longer. But that's okay. It's not a big deal. We'll be done. I'm pretty sure we'll be done with the end of April on the road. And we've got a few more parts we're waiting on. We just got some new parts in today for it. Hopefully those parts will be here. If not, we won't need them. We'll figure out something else. It's nothing, it's interior related, so it's not a big deal. But that's how I think our projects. Write it down, break it down, and decide what you want to do. And when you're looking at buying a car, figure out your budget before you buy your car. A lot of the cars that I buy are cars that are sitting in somebody's garage. They spent a lot of money on parts. They didn't have the money, didn't have the experience, or did not want to dig into the mechanical end of it. Started wanting to source it out, looking at the money it was going to cost, put their project up for sale. And I'll tell you, to be honest with you, most of them you can buy with, hey, this is what I got in it, I'll give you the parts. because they want out, and they don't want to, they don't want a bunch of tire kickers. So, but if you plan it out, that won't happen to you. So that's just something to think about. Wanted to show you what I was doing today, and I got to thinking about building a project. And I told you all, my daughter's building this on a teacher's salary, and so it's being built to be driven. We're going to build it to look as good as we as we can make it look, and it's going to have a few different styling cues to it that you may or may not like, but she's building it for herself, and she'll keep asking me questions, and I've given her some advice, but most of the time I'm like, hey, it's your car, make a decision, because I want it to be exactly what she wants it to be, because it's her dream car. This car will be with her forever. So, it needs to be what she wants it to be. She's going to put a lot of miles on it, 4,000 or 5,000 miles a year. So, she's got to enjoy it. And and speaking about enjoying it, if you're going to put AC in a car, now's the time to do it. Unfortunately, we're not. We might come back and do something, but her budget says no. So that's where we are on the AC deal, which is not going to bother her a bit. But that's something to, when you're thinking interior, always think about AC. Everybody forgets about that and waits till the end. Kits are $1,500 to buy, $1,500 to have installed, unless you can do it yourself. So thanks for stopping by today. And when you get a chance, come back and see me.